Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for August 22nd, 2012. It's currently 6:40 a.m. and we have a very interesting weather pattern unfolding over the next 10 days. But for the northern mid-Atlantic, very quiet weather conditions will be in place with scattered cloud cover, low humidity, and very tranquil weather conditions. So let's take a look at the forecast. Right now we have temperatures ranging from the mid-50s over the northern interior and portions of northeastern Pennsylvania to the lower 60s along the immediate coast. We have scattered cloud cover. We still have a little bit of fog in some of the valleys in northern New Jersey and northeastern Pennsylvania, but that fog is lifting and generally is ranging anywhere from 2 to 4 miles in visibility and rising. So really there isn't a significant impact on the road conditions for this morning, and pretty much tranquil weather conditions are in place for today. So let's take a look at the latest infrared satellite picture, and you can see high pressure over the Ohio River Valley and the eastern Great Lakes is firmly in control. We have a weak disturbance lingering around the northern mid-Atlantic. This disturbance really isn't going to produce much in the way of any precipitation. Could produce an isolated, I mean very isolated shower over the interior, but for the most part dry conditions will be in place with this high pressure system shifting towards Maine by the end of this week. So pretty much what you see is what you get. High pressure and control all week, scattered cloud cover, an isolated shower here or there once in a while with a passing disturbance, but overall dry and enjoyable weather conditions with low humidity and temperatures near normal ranging from the upper 70s to mid 80s for highs. Of course, the warmest locations will be in your urban locations like New York City and Philadelphia and in the Delaware River Valley. Lows ranging from the upper 50s to mid 60s. Again, warmest conditions along the coast and in your urban locations. Taking a look at the water vapor satellite picture, this trough here is going to be a big player over the next 10 days because the position and deepness of this trough is going to have a direct impact on what happens with Tropical Storm Isaac and also a new tropical depression forming on the way. You can see our little mid-level disturbance I was talking about that is directly producing this surface trough at the, surface. This disturbance will not produce again any really significant precipitation or really any cloud cover for that matter. It's going to exit out relatively quickly for this afternoon with limited impacts. High pressure will be the main influence on the weather pattern. Let's talk about the tropics. Here we have Tropical Storm Isaac, and here we have a new tropical depression just about ready to form. It's currently designated as a tropical disturbance, but as you can see here, it has a low level circulation, plenty of convection. So this will likely be a tropical depression in the next 24 hours. Now, what's going to happen with Isaac? That's a great question. What we do know right now is that convection or thunderstorms are rapidly developing around the low-level center. We see a very healthy outflow and inflow weather upper-level pattern with this tropical storm, and we really don't see much in the way of shear anymore influencing Isaac at all. Isaac is going to continue to move towards the west under the influence of a strong subtropical ridge to the north of Isaac, and that's going to force Isaac into the northeastern Caribbean and just to the south of Puerto Rico. Where it goes from there is still a bit of a question. Does it move through Hispaniola? Does it stay to the south and then move through Cuba? Does it move to the, between Puerto Rico and Hispaniola? We really don't know yet. There's a lot of questions as to how fast is the trough over the East Coast influences the track of Isaac, and until we really get a strong handle on that, there's still some questions in the air on exactly where Isaac will go. What happens with Isaac will have a direct impact on what happens with this new tropical depression here. That will be a tropical depression, should I say. And this disturbance here will likely track to the north and northeast of wherever Isaac tracks. So the next several days are going to be very interesting for the East Coast, especially for locations from North Carolina on south. Going to have to keep an eye on this developing weather pattern. And as far as the track of Isaac, here are the models, the GFS ensemble models. And I'm using the GFS here because it's handling the structure of Isaac the best, and also the upper level ridge over the central Atlantic. So while I understand the European model guidance is, well, in most ways superior, right now the European model guidance is not initializing or starting off with the correct parameters that are currently being observed for Isaac and for the upper level pattern. So if it's not starting off correctly, it likely isn't also forecasting correctly in this case. So we're going to have to stay away from the European model guidance for now and lean more on the GFS model guidance, which is initializing better on this whole entire situation. And as you can see, Isaac tracks towards the northeastern Caribbean. There's strong agreement on that. And then there's a question as to whether it passes between Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, whether it moves over Hispaniola, whether it cuts through Hispaniola and towards northern Cuba and then up the east coast. There's a whole lot of questions. And the reason why this portion of the forecast right here is a big deal is because the longer it remains over these islands, the weaker it will be. If it passes through, let's say, between Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, then that means, well, it's not going to have a lot of impact on land, and it will remain over the warm Atlantic Ocean waters, and will have a potential to strengthen much more than if it went right over Hispaniola, where there's a lot of mountains and a greater potential for weakening. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this tropical storm and how it develops. Again, there is strong indication that Isaac is going to have an impact on the southeast coast. Whether it moves up the east coast as a heavy rainstorm or a tropical low pressure system is still very much unknown, and you're not going to catch me making a whole lot of hysteria about, a tropical storm or a hurricane hitting New Jersey yet. What I would suggest is keep an eye on it and be prepared for likely a wet end to next week with whatever's left of Isaac. Taking a look at the latest model guidance, I'm going to stay with the GFS model guidance just for continuity here. But pretty much whether you're using the European or the GFS model guidance or pretty much any other model guidance right now, the main story for the northern mid-Atlantic will be the influence of the high pressure system that's over the Ohio River Valley moving towards the Canadian Maritimes. Now as the high pressure system sets up over the Canadian Maritimes, winds will shift to the east, and that's going to keep the potential for an isolated shower here or there for the northern mid-Atlantic for this upcoming weekend. Most locations will remain dry and pleasant. However, with winds coming off of the Atlantic, I can't rule out an isolated shower here or there every once in a while. Otherwise, dry conditions will be in place. Temperatures seasonable, ranging from the upper 70s to mid 80s. Of course, the warmest locations over the Philadelphia metropolitan area. And for the most part, very quiet weather conditions on into Tuesday. And then after that, well, we're going to have to keep an eye and see exactly what happens with Isaac. Does it move up the coast as a heavy rainstorm, as a tropical storm, as a hurricane? A lot of questions here, a lot of uncertainty, great deal of volatility in this weather forecast for next week. But at least this weekend is going to be absolutely perfect. Well, that's your forecast for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.